screen and just
Can you share it, or I got to give you access?
oh let's see.
Go ahead. You should be able to do it now. There you go. Awesome.
Yay! Woo-hoo! So good evening, everyone. I'm glad y'all had a very engaging class so far. Hopefully, this will be a contribution to that. um, as you all know or may not know, I am Siobhan Noble, Fred's amazing wife. And I am going to instruct you guys on vocal health today. And so this is the part that most people don't take into account before they are about to sing. However, it is so vitally important to know these things that I'm about to share with you now because it can hinder or help your vocal performance. So, welcome, you amazing singers. Yes. Let's get started. So I want to share with you just really quick that when it comes to your vocal health, what you eat can either hinder or enhance your performance. And I want to ask you a question. If you can hear me, I would like for you to unmute so they can answer me back. True or false? Right before you sing, if you drink water, it will hydrate your vocal cords. True or false?
They said true.
All of them said true?
Well, one said false.
Who said false?
Mr. Andre.
Okay. Well, that was actually the correct answer. It is false. You are going to have to hydrate your vocal cords at least 24 hours before singing. You can drink water before you sing. That's going to quench your thirst and moisten your throat, but it's not going to affect your vocal cords being hydrated. So, great job to you. That was Mr. Andre. This is the portion where we're going to kind of go over the most common challenges for singers. Top things that I've always heard or studies have shown: mucus being number one, dehydrated vocal cords, gas. And when I say gas, I mean like burping, warming up your voice correctly, warming up your voice correctly, acid reflux. Some people have the symptoms of it, and then there is silent reflux. So you may not have like the burning throat, or that sense of it, but it could still cause some issues in your vocal folds. So that would contribute to swelling, which is our next one: swelling in the vocal folds, hoarseness. Some people have a tendency to just go hoarse for no reason. Well, they think it's no reason. It's actually a reason for it. They just aren't sure of the cause. And then singing flat. So believe it or not, these are some things that actually are contributed to by your vocal health in relation to food. So now we're going to kind of go into the root causes, or what triggers the things that we just listed as the common challenges. So these are your foods to avoid. We want to make sure that we're staying away from gluten, eggs, dairy. If you don't know whether or not you have a nut allergy, which I'm pretty sure by this age, all of you know if you do or don't, but if you have a allergic reaction to nuts, that's definitely a no-no before you sing. Shellfish, spicy foods, fried foods, chocolate, tomatoes, caffeine, soda, and alcohol. And we're going to go more in depth with this in just a second. So gluten is actually a protein that is found within the bread or wheat itself. And it's like a sticky substance. If any of you have ever done like paper mache, you know that basically that's just like flour and water, and that's what you use to cast on the balloon in order to make it mold. Think about that in the sense of gluten for your belly. You know, it's actually like a gluey like substance, and it does cause some issues within your physical body, even, you know, outside of just your belly. It can, you know, not radiate, but travel to your throat and cause thickness in that area. And so we don't want that. You know, we don't want paper mache in our throat, so to speak. Um, so we want to make sure that we stay away from gluten before we sing. A lot of times, if you are in a place where there's food provided to you, especially in the morning time, they'll have like all these little delicate treats that you see before you now laid out for you. Stay away from them. Don't eat them. They're going to hinder everything that you worked hard for. So just say no. Eggs. Now, believe it or not, some people have an intolerance when it comes to eggs, and they aren't aware of it. So you can have an actual reaction, maybe gas, in the sense of you'll find yourself burping, or even just like maybe an irritation in your throat, and you don't recognize it because you've eaten eggs so long. But that's something that you want to avoid before singing. So no egg sandwiches or products with eggs in them, because they can cause a food intolerance or allergy, better known as, which would actually trigger you to not be able to sing properly because it causes irritation within your throat. So that's another no-no. Dairy, I should have put this one first because this one is actually the biggest no-no. So mucus is actually going to be thickened and just, oh boy, I don't even know how else to say it. So it's basically going to cause any mucus that's existing to be thicker. And if it's not any mucus already in your throat, it's going to create it. So when you have that thickness in coating your throat, you're not going to be able to sing properly. You know, you wake up in the morning, you're like, macaroni and cheese. If you had it the night before you sing, it's going to affect you the next day. So you would like to be mindful of the things that you eat even the day before you sing, so it's not affecting you on the next day. That's your butter, your cheese, your milk, yogurt. All of those things are mucus forming. So they're going to cause the thickening of your vocal folds, and then also just a blockage over your vocal cords because of the actual mucus itself. So just say no. And besides, you know, we're not baby cows. That's the conversation for another time, right? I love throwing that out there. In case you were wondering why I said that, um, milk is actually produced for baby calves. That's the way that it is made. It's designed when women are pregnant and they have a baby, they actually produce milk to feed their human baby. Cows produce milk to feed their baby calf. So, although it's delicious and it's in a lot of the things that we consume, it's not actually supposed to be for human consumption. Ask me why later. So again, when I mentioned nuts, I did want to say that if you already have an allergen to nuts, of course, you know that to stay away from them. There are certain nuts that will trigger a allergic reaction and some won't. For example, for me, I can eat almonds, walnuts, I can eat pine nuts, and also pistachios, which you see in this picture. But when I eat pecans, it gives me gas. And when I eat cashews, it gives me gas. And when I eat Brazil nuts, I get like that gassy feeling, you know, upset stomach. And then I also notice that my mucus lining gets thicker when I eat those ones that actually do produce more gas for me. So I can eat some, but I can't eat all. Um, when in doubt, leave it out. So I would prefer you not to have that before you sing, so that way you are not causing any extra issues, any extra strain on your vocal cords and things of that nature. Now, of course, shellfish, again, this is one of those things that if there is an allergic reaction within your body present, I'm pretty sure by this age you would know. Because, those are anaphylactic types of reactions where your throat will pretty much shut up on you and close up. So I think that you would know by now. But again, if you have to sing and it's an evening event or something along those lines, practice maybe. Just don't eat any shellfish prior to singing. Even if you don't have that major allergic reaction, it can still cause that thickening of the mucus lining, which will hinder you being your best when you are trying to release your sound. Spicy foods. So, twofold reasons for this. Number one, it can burn your vocal cords by, just pretty much singeing your throat when you're eating the spicy foods. And then also, when that happens, your body is going to produce mucus to try to coat your throat so that it can bring some relief to that area. So it's actually going to be an issue where your vocal cords are going to be harmed, and also they're going to be coated with mucus. So you definitely don't want to do anything spicy. I use this picture salsa because, I mean, typically there isn't a lot of spicy stuff that people eat in the morning unless they're eating like a breakfast sausage that I could think of. Maybe something more so like a snack food. And that's why I went with salsa, because I can't really think of too many things that people would eat like midday. I mean, morning time to midday that would be spicy. I don't know. Maybe y'all can come up with something. That was all I had. Salsa came to mind. So anyway, that's the reason we want to stay away from any spicy foods before we sing, because we don't want to end up with a fire in our throat that has to be put out. Fried foods. Now, this is going to be a morning time thing because of biscuits. Like, people like to eat breakfast biscuits, things of that nature that are breaded, donuts, which is nothing but fried bread. I'm just saying, throwing that out there. So any fried foods, you definitely don't want to do that before you sing. They are going to cause that extra mucus buildup, and also they can also cause heartburn. And so you don't want to be singing and then your chest feels like it's about to explode. The excessive oil and butter is what triggers the mucus lining to become thicker. So we want to stay away from that. Now, chocolate. This one is a little tricky because nobody really eats chocolate like, for breakfast unless it's in a shake form. So you want to stay away from anything that has cacao or just chocolate itself. Um, in the in the prevention of making sure mucus does not form, you want to stay away from it again the day before. All of these items that I'm mentioning to you, you would have to be mindful of the day before you sing so that you're not going into the next day with the result of these foods and what they produce. So chocolate being another thing, you don't want to have it and then it's going to actually, because it's a natural caffeine, it's going to dehydrate your vocal cords because caffeine does that. And then also it's going to trigger acid reflux. And then it also has high amounts of sugar in it. So one thing that happens when something has excessive sugar in it, it'll cause you, just like we see a child that eats candy, they have this great sugar explosion of energy and then they come down. And so you don't want to have anything that's high in sugar because it will drain your energy levels. And then once that happens, you're not going to be able to completely effectively sing the way that you would like to, because at that point, you're starting to like kind of come down and all you want to do is like kind of rest at that point. So you're not going to be able to produce the sound that you really would like to. It's going to be more of a struggle for you. So again, anything that has caffeine in it, this being something that has natural caffeine in it, it's going to dehydrate your vocal cords. So we don't want it. Tomatoes, tomato. It depends on the person if you have a reaction to it, because tomatoes are considered a vegetable or a fruit, excuse me, that's a nightshade. And you don't want to take that chance before you sing. So I wouldn't have spaghetti the night before. I'm about to say, I wouldn't have lasagna, of course, because that's nothing but sauce, cheese, and gluten. Wow, you wouldn't want that, definitely. Um, but I would try my best to stay away from eating any tomatoes. They do cause extra acidity in our bodies, and that is going to trigger again that inflammatory response, which is going to cause what? Mucus production, right? So we don't want that. And I put a variation of things up here because you just never know who you're talking to. So I don't want to miss anything. So caffeine, soda, or alcohol, and also kombucha because that is a fermented drink, and it does have a grain alcohol in it. So that is included in there. It's a healthy drink, but not before you sing. Okay. So no sodas because that's going to cause number one, excessive burping from the gas, and then the carbonation is actually going to hinder your vocal cords. You also want to make sure they have extra sugar in there. It's just not going to work. It's not going to work. The coffee, again, we talked about caffeine. Number one thing that I didn't mention was it's a diuretic. So it's actually going to cause you to urinate more, which is going to effectively dehydrate the body. And that includes your vocal cords. Caffeinated teas and coffee, they put unnecessary stress on your vocal cords by causing a constriction of your muscles. And we know by now, right, that our vocal cords is a muscle. Like that voice area has muscles in it. So those are going to be constricted. Um, and then, of course, alcohol. But, let's just not do that, period. It's not good for your liver. It's not good for your voice. It's not good overall. So now we're going to talk about the good stuff. Yay! I hope you're taking notes. I'm going to talk a little slower because I want you to write some things down that I did not put in my beautifully crafted slide presentation. So the foods that you're going to be able to enjoy, of course, I added water in there because that's a given, right? Fresh fruit, but there are only specific fruits that you should eat. Salads, and yes, salads can be for breakfast, believe it or not. Green juice, smoothies, which, that's a combination of different fruits and some ice. And then also walnuts. Again, if you have a nut allergy, don't do it. But walnuts are typically safe when it comes to eating before you sing. So you want to make sure that you drink water. Why is that important? Because if you drink water prior to singing, you are going to have a great vocal production, like your great vocal sound coming out of you because your muscles are hydrated. So you want to make sure that you're drinking water at least 24 to 48 hours prior to singing because you don't want to be dehydrated and then you trying to sing and it's like, you don't want to sound like a seagull. Anyway, so make sure that you're drinking water prior to singing, at least 48 to 24 hours prior to singing. Hydrate your body. No, it does not work if you drink it right before you sing because your vocal cords actually draw, just like your muscles, it draws the water as it's going through your body. It doesn't take it as you just ingest it. So you're going to have it already in you for your vocal cords to draw from it. Make sense? Yeah? All right. So quality water that you want to drink before singing is alkaline water. Now, the choices, in my opinion, are kind of slim right now, but I'm not going to get like down in the dumps about this. So they do have a couple of good brands around right now. One is Essentia, Essentia. That's one. Another one is Eternal, Eternal, just like eternal life. Another another good one is Fiji. Fiji water. And these ones you can typically find in any grocery store nowadays. Like these are not like regulated at a health food store. So you should be able to find them even in Walmart. Also, you want to make sure just to top yourself off, you know, for that day of whatever whatever time of day you're gonna sing. Make sure you do like 8 to 10 ounces of room temperature water in the morning, like as soon as you wake up. Room temperature water, preferably alkaline, 8 to 10 ounces, right after you open your eyes in the morning. So, fresh fruits. Just to name a few, because although I have this beautiful picture here, you can't eat all this before you sing. Citrus, it does cause the drying out of your vocal cords. So I would not suggest that you do any citrus fruits prior to singing. You want to do watermelon, which is greatly hydrating. Yes, it does have some sugar in it, but it's more of a natural sugar, so it's not going to cause that sugar crash that we talked about before. So watermelon, strawberries, you could do mangoes, peaches, and apples are good as well, as long as they don't give you gas. So you want to pretty much stick to that group of fruit prior to singing. And if you didn't know, all of these fruits digest at a different time in our bellies. So watermelon should be eaten by itself. Any melon, cantaloupe, honeydew, watermelon, they shouldn't be mixed with any other fruit when you're consuming them for at least, I would say, probably about 20 to 30 minutes before eating a different fruit, just because they digest at a different time. And so because of the difference of digestion, it will give you gas if you try to, blend the two, because one is holding up the process of the other one to digest, because it just digests in our system a lot slower. But you can have strawberries, peaches, mangoes, or apples together. You can have a combination of those things, but I would not do melon with any other fruit. So, like I said earlier, salads can be for breakfast. Yes. Ignore that tomato that you see in the picture. I couldn't find a picture of a salad without a tomato. Anyway, so salads can be for breakfast in one or two forms. You can either juice it or you can eat it just as it is. So you can have some olive oil for your dressing. Avocados are good. You can do a little bit of pink Himalayan salt or some sea salt, just a little bit, not too much, because again, you don't want anything that's going to dry out or dehydrate you. And you can use those to make your own homemade dressing. And so you're pretty much just going to be eating lettuce. You're going to have some lettuce, and you can have some peppers as long as they're not spicy. You can have some red, some yellow. Those are sweet. That's fine. But that's just something to, hold you over before you sing. You don't want to do a whole lot of extra stuff in your salad. You can't do a Cobb salad because that's going to have like eggs and things like that in it. You don't want to do that. So you're going to have to do like a garden salad or a side salad, and then, take out the tomatoes or ask for no tomatoes, and then you'll be good to go. And again, when it comes to the dressing, we're doing like olive oil and just like a little bit of seasoning in that. We're not going to do any of the store-bought stuff, because they usually have a lot of sugar and other additives in there, unless you know of one that you use that doesn't have a lot of sugar in it and doesn't have a lot of additives. Green juice. Green juice is good. It's good for us. So one thing that you can do is mix together like a green apple. You can do some celery, as long as you don't already have acid reflux, because celery will cause that to be greater. I hear people clearing their throat now. Somebody in there got mucus already?
Yeah.
And what exactly did you eat?
um, well, I was actually a bunch of stuff I shouldn't have eaten, but I think it was from getting in the pool and then going out into like the air and just being in it. And that's what.
I got you. Okay. Well, yeah, that could do it too. But it's
Yeah,
more
I
than
re-
likely something you
yeah, I
ate.
re- yeah, I recently started back eating dairy ice cream, and my chest has been
Ooh.
very mucusy, very
Let it go, girl. Let it go.
mucusy.
Don't do it. There are so many great options that are non-dairy. Don't do it.
I know better. I know. I just didn't
It's
do it.
okay. It's a process. All I'm gonna say is when it's gone, don't get no more. Try something non-dairy, okay? And even with that, because it's cold, it could still cause some level of mucus production, but it's not gonna be nearly as much as the dairy one is. I promise you. Um, where were we? Oh yeah, green drink. So you could do like some kale, mix it with a green apple, and put some arugula, which is a lettuce leaf, in there, and blend it up and drink it. It's almost like a salad through a straw. So in case you don't want to eat your salad, you can drink it. I'm just saying it's smoothie. Again, you want to stick with the combination of things that can go together. You don't want to, you can do like a watermelon smoothie like by itself, but you don't want to do a blend of the different ones that we talked about not to blend. So you just want to stick with like strawberries. You could do mangoes, like I said, peaches and apples, and blend that together to make a smoothie. And then that be something to satisfy you, until you're able to perform. And then afterwards, you can have uh, typically whatever you like within reason, of course. Plant-based protein shakes. So we don't want anything with whey in it. Of course, we don't want anything because whey is dairy, no matter what they tell you. And I've heard of some very reputable companies that have said, well, our whey doesn't cause mucus. And that's a lie. It does. So you want to make sure that you're doing a plant-based protein shake and mix it with water. You're not going to mix it with any type of milk, not even nut milk. Just do it with water, and that's going to look like maybe a pea protein, or chickpea, even a brown rice I've seen, or I haven't tasted it. I don't know how it tastes, so maybe not have that one. But I have had an almond one, which was actually really tasty. It was actually almonds ground down into a protein powder, and that one's really good. I've also had chickpea and then green pea, and those are pretty good, honestly. So that is what I would recommend as far as your plant-based protein, to have something to kind of satiate you, instead of eating all the other stuff before you sing. So I'm going to give you a couple more things that were not on my slides. When you have mucus, you can take the juice from 4 limes, cut them in half, squeeze the juice out, and drink it straight like a shot of lime juice. And that will cut the mucus in your throat. Slice it right on out, right? So, another thing that you can do is ginger, like fresh ginger root, I would prefer. You can take that and you can cut it up into thin strips. Or if you have ginger tea, that's fine too. And you can actually let it, like cool off after you boil it and let it heat up, steep for a little bit. Let it cool off, not completely to cold, but just to room temperature. And then add no more than 1 teaspoon of honey to it. And that will help to get the mucus out of your throat. You can also inhale some steam. I didn't hear you.
She was saying she was allergic to beeswax earlier.
Oh, okay. Well, definitely don't do honey then. That's a no-no. You can actually just drink your ginger straight. You don't need any honey in there. You can do it.
What was the first tip you said again?
The first thing I said was 4 limes
Okay, cool.
cut in half, squeeze all the juice out of them, and then drink it like a shot.
Okay.
Another thing you can do is inhale steam. Be very careful with that. If you're like holding your head over a pot and inhaling the steam, you could possibly get a little lightheaded, so just be mindful with that. Or, it'd be better just to do it in the shower and just inhale the steam while you're in there. And then that'll kind of like liquefy the mucus. It's not as effective as the other two, but it still works. So if you do more than one thing, then you pretty much good as far as getting rid of mucus. And then another old remedy that still works is just gargling. Gargle with warm salt water. Yes, you're going to have to rehydrate after this, but you're not drinking it. You're just gargling with it and spitting it out.
You gargle with salt water?
Yeah, I used to gargle with salt water as a kid. I mean, I always had a hard time not not swallowing. My mom said, "Don't swallow it," but I couldn't help it. I was a kid, right? But when you're doing this, I want you to gargle at a high pitch. So that way you're getting the salt water in the area where it needs to be to break up the mucus. And you're going to repeat this several times.
What do you call those things that shoot water up your nose?
The irrigator.
Something like that. Do those work?
Yes, you can also do nasal irrigation. That's fine as well. I don't personally like it, but you can do it. I've tried it. I don't think I did it right. Like a saltwater flush.
I can't remember what they call those things. But my wife has one.
It's a neti pot.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it's called. A neti pot.
Yeah, they work. I just, it's so strange. I tried it. I felt like I was drowning. I was like, never again. I think I wasn't supposed to breathe in when I was, and yeah. I was like, no, I'll be fine. I'll just do everything else except for that. So, yeah, those were the things that I wanted to share with you all that was not on the slides. I definitely want to let you know that one of the things that I love to do is help people learn how to eat clean, clean up their diet, basically putting their body in a place of optimal performance for them to be able to do what God has called them to do what they're here, to be able to serve the kingdom with and be able to serve whoever is in alignment with your mission. So I like to help people. That's what I do. I help people to eat healthier and get rid of all the junk out of their diets. I promise you, I'm not mean about it. I do have a sternness with me, but I definitely have had a method that has been effective in a lot of people's lives. So it must be good. It must work. So I would like to offer you all just a free consultation with me, 15 minutes to kind of chat over any of your desires or health concerns when it comes to where you are as opposed to where you want to be, and see if we can kind of navigate through that. Just really briefly, I can help you to come up with maybe 1 or 2 tips that you can work with, and or maybe you sign up for one of my programs where I can actually one-on-one work with you, or in a group work with you and be able to help you to achieve those goals so that you can feel your best, look your best, and also be able to, well, in your cases, sing your best. So let me know, or let my husband know if that is something that you desire. And I'll send him my link so that he can give you all.
I'll forward it in the email I'm gonna send to them.
Oh yeah, you could just put it at the end of the email. where you can schedule a time with me. So I'm done. Unless you all have a question. If you got a question, then I'm here to answer it.
I had a question. What was the let's say you do enjoy the chicken biscuit on occasion. How much time should you plan to enjoy said chicken biscuit before you're planning to sleep?
You would need to have that chicken biscuit like I would say 36 hours before singing.
36 hours.
Yeah. So if you're gonna sing on Sunday, have that chicken biscuit on Friday.
Friday night? Okay. All right. That's what I figure. I figure it's probably more than 24 hours.
Yeah, buddy, it is. Anyone else have any questions before I depart from your presence? No. All right. Well, look, you do the best that you can to adhere to the things that you've been given. Hopefully this will like just register in your mind before you sing. Especially if you've been invited to like a cookout or gathering or something and you're trying to indulge and you know you're about to sing, you could be like, oh, no, I can't have that because I want to sound great. So with that being said, babe, I turn it back over to you. I'm going to go.
All right. Well,
I'm so glad
you.
you were quiet for this time.
Right.
Oh, yeah. All right, you all.
Thank you.
Amazing singers. See you later.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.